I know.
Please. Heather, did we hear you correctly? You wish to speak in Anne's defense?
Yes, I do.
Dr. Hardy, again, I must protest. Is this woman a qualified member of this hearing board?
No, she's not. Your point is well taken, Mr. Briggs.
But the evidence I have is important.
How important?
It's very important.
Very well. Since the purpose of this hearing is to elicit the truth, I will allow Heather Weber to speak.
Dr. Hardy.
Don't make me repeat myself, Mr. Briggs. Please proceed, Heather.
Many of you know that Anne Logan and I have had some personal problems in the past. But aside from that, I have always had a great respect for Anne and her dedication to nursing. And I just can't stand aside and see her whole career ruined. Her whole life was ruined. Because she can't prove the charges she's made against Dr. Bradshaw are true. Well, I know Anne is telling the truth. And I think she should be applauded.
Obviously, you're not going to tell this committee why you think Miss Logan is such a paragon of virtue.
Yes, I can. Many people tried to stop Anne from making the accusations against Dr. Bradshaw. But she didn't. She kept pursuing it because she knew she was right, even though she knew what would happen to her. She knows that Dr. Bradshaw was negligent in relation to Mrs. Newell's death.
You have proof of that statement, Heather?
Yes, I do. Right here.
Dr. Hardy.
Just a moment, Mr. Briggs. May I ask what that is, what that document is you're holding?
I have absolute proof that Anne Logan is telling the truth.
What?
I don't know.
You can stop at the farm.
Heather, I will ask you at this time to identify that paper you are holding.
This is the missing page from Francis Newell's case history.
What? Where did you get this? Please.
This page lists every medication that Mrs. Newell was taking. And it clearly lists birth control pills. So Anne Logan is telling the truth when she says Dr. Bradshaw should have been aware his patient was taking those pills. Well, he failed to act on that information. And because he didn't act on it, he clearly endangered Mrs. Newell's life.
I'd like to clarify that the record, Steve, if I may.
Go ahead, Noah.
Frances Newell suffered from blood clotting due to phlebitis. She was over 35, she was a chain smoker, and she was on birth control pills. As any physician in this room knows, that clearly adds up to a life-threatening situation in surgery.
Dr. Hardy.
Yes, Mr. Briggs.
This has all been highly dramatic, but I must submit it adds up to nothing. There is no proof that Arthur Bradshaw knew what was on that page. As a matter of fact, since we haven't even examined it, none of us knows what's on it.
May I see that paper, Heather?
Of course.
Thank you. This is shocking. Utterly shocking. And I want everybody here to understand that this cannot and will not be tolerated. Now, this page was obviously torn from an official file in this hospital, a patient's medical history, which is highly privileged information, and to tamper with it or remove it is unthinkable.
May we know what the page contains, Steve?
Yes, of course. I want everybody to read it. And you will see that the page does contain a complete list of all the medications taken by the deceased patient, Frances Newell. I don't have to remind anybody here that whenever a doctor or a nurse in this hospital is assigned to a patient, it's that person's individual duty and responsibility to read this information carefully and to be totally familiar with its contents. You will see on that page that Mrs. Newell did include her birth control pills. Therefore, her surgeon and anyone connected with the case was obligated to know that fact. Will you please continue, Heather?
Dr. Hardy, I must object.
You're out of order, Mr. Briggs. I have asked Heather to continue with her testimony.
Then I request a recess so I may confer with my client, Dr. Bradshaw.
I am going to deny that request, Mr. Briggs, and for this reason. We are not in a courtroom. This is not a trial, and you have no authority here. You are here as a courtesy to Dr. Bradshaw, just as Joe Kelly is here as a courtesy to Anne Logan, nothing more. Now, Heather, we're all waiting to hear exactly how you came upon that paper.
I understand, Dr. Hardy.
Dr. Hardy, I'm sorry, but neither Dr. Bradshaw nor I will stand for this.
Please sit down, Mr. Briggs, because you and Dr. Bradshaw are going to stand for it. You have no choice. Please proceed, Heather. Where did you find that missing page?
Heather, now that we've all seen this document, I think you have to do what Steve has asked. How did you get it?
Well, really, it was quite by accident. In the Xerox room, we recycle the rejected pages from the copy machine, and we use them as scratch paper.
But that paper isn't a copy, Heather. That's the original, the one torn from the patient's file.
Yeah, I realize that now, but at first I didn't know what it was. But when I realized, I could tell that it was the original torn from Mrs. Newell's file.
When you realized that, what did you do about it?
I didn't really know what to do. I read it through, and I could tell it was dynamite. I didn't know what to do. I was scared.
Why should finding the page frighten you?
Because how was I going to explain how I got a hold of it? And there are some people in this hospital that would tend to doubt my word.
Heather, is that the only reason you didn't say anything? Because you were afraid you wouldn't be believed?
Not the only reason.
What were the other reasons?
Well, I didn't know what to do with it at first. I maybe thought that it wasn't even anything important. But then when I started to hear all the talk about Bradshaw and Anne, I realized that I was standing by while Dr. Bradshaw tried to ruin Anne's career, and I was going to be responsible for that. So I just decided I'd better come down to this hearing and bring the page with me.
Anything further, Heather?
No, I don't think so.
Well, maybe as far as you're concerned, but let me say, we appreciate your coming down, even at this late date, but we still don't know who stole the page in the first place. Do you have any idea on that subject?
No. Nothing I could prove.
It really doesn't matter.
Arthur, are you asking to be heard?
Please. May Dr. Bradshaw be advised that he is not required to speak?
Mr. Briggs, Dr. Bradshaw is a surgeon in this hospital. I'm sure he doesn't need to be reminded of his rights or privileges.
Nor is he required to incriminate himself. Judson, please.
We can assume he's well aware of that, too.
Judson, please. The fact is, it doesn't matter whether I stole the page or not. I admit I thought of doing it.
You thought of it, or did you actually do it, Doctor?
Look, whether I stole the page or not is unimportant.
Well, that's your opinion, Doctor.
It's an opinion I think you'll share if you just let me go on.
Oh, Johnny, please, go on.
First of all, I want to apologize to all of you. I owe you the truth. Especially you, Anne. And I can't sit here any longer without revealing that truth. All of it.
Dr. Hardy.
Judson, please. This hearing was called at my insistence because I claimed that I ordered the drug heparin administered to Mrs. Newell before surgery. And then when the patient died, I read the autopsy report, and it showed that no heparin had been administered, so I accused Anne Logan of failing to carry out my order. And that was a lie. The fact is, I never ordered the heparin. I did something far worse, though. I took Mrs. Newell's chart, and I wrote in my order for heparin.
When did you do that?
After the patient had died. Surgery, Your Honor. And I panicked because I knew that I had been careless. I hadn't read her history very carefully or a list of medications. I'd only skimmed it. I just wanted to get on with the surgery and just get on to the next one and the next one and the next one. I hadn't even read the test results before I used my scalpel. So when I realized what I had done, I compounded my negligence. I went and I falsified a record. I lied repeatedly.
Arthur, if you'd like some time to collect yourself.
No, Steve, I'm fine. Actually, now that you know the truth, I kind of feel relieved. I mean, it's, I lied for so long, so many times. I lied that it's like lifting a weight, right off my shoulders.
I can appreciate that, Arthur.
Well, I think we all can, Arthur. Yes. Is there anything else, Arthur?
Yes, if I may.
We want to hear whatever you have to say.
This in no way is an excuse. I don't offer any excuses, just maybe an explanation of my behavior. For many years, I took great pride in my work as a surgeon. I worked very hard to achieve success. I finally did.
You're one of the best.
Thanks, Noah. But as you know, and as many of you know, in recent times, I became filled with domestic difficulties of a personal nature. And I thought that by some people go to drink to forget their troubles, and I went to my work. If I immersed myself in my surgery, I felt that I would forget, not have time to think about my problems. That didn't work. By overworking, by trying to achieve the oblivion of exhaustion, I became a careless doctor. And worst of all, I tried deliberately to destroy the career of a fine and dedicated nurse. What can I say to you, Adam? I'm so sorry. I'll be sorry for the rest of my life. I didn't mean to hurt you, any of you. I didn't mean to hurt the hospital. And now it's over. You'll have my resignation in half an hour, Steve.
I would like to say something to everybody.
And it's over.
Yes, Steve, I know, and I'm very happy, but I just want everyone to know I never wanted any of this to happen in the first place. Excuse me for a minute. Scotty, I don't know how...
Here. It's going to be short, but it's going to be to your dedication, to your determination, your sense of values, and above all, your victory. It's a bit of a dud. Congratulations.
No.
What?
I really don't feel like celebrating. I hope you don't mind. I'd like to go home. Mind?
Okay. No, I don't. I understand. I'll drive you.
Thank you. You know, it's strange. Sometimes being right isn't enough.
Yeah. Especially when you watch a decent man destroy himself.
It's probably why I'm not feeling very triumphant right now. But I'm sure of one thing.